Ever since its creation 9 years ago, Five Nights at Freddy's has had tons of fan games over the years, some of these games soaring to the skies in popularity and even becoming a part of the Fazbear Fanverse initiative. Games like Five Nights at Candy's, The Joy of Creation, Pop Goes, and etc. These games are widely known by FNAF's community, so much so that they've kind of become their own separate communities. But what about the games that were once super popular like these series that have vanished into obscurity? What happened to these games and their creators? How did they get so popular? Where are they now? Was it all just in our imaginations? Are they dead? Hopefully I can get the answers to these questions, so strap in and let's take a trip down memory lane to the once very popular but now forgotten FNAF fan games. When I had the idea for this video, I actually thought of this game first before anything else, and that's the game you're seeing the gameplay in the background right now. This is Five Nights at Wario's by www Wario. Or just Andy, which is what I'm just going to be referring to him as. Wow, what a beautiful icon. The story of the game goes like this. Wario and his friend Waluigi worked together in Wario's fast food factory, but one day they went missing and were never found. Because of this incident, the factory was shut down because the residents thought it was cursed or haunted or something like that. After 7 years, the government reopened the factory to start production again, and Richard McRoy, the character you play as, gets hired as a night guard. It's a pretty basic story, not the most detailed, but it's not terrible. Don't know why a government would just decide to reopen a fast food factory though. Like imagine the entire US Congress just having a meeting to reopen an abandoned Twinkies factory or something. This game became super popular back in the early days of FNAF fan games, being played by Markiplier, Corey X Kenshin, Dashy Games, and even fucking Smosh of all people. Yeah, this game was played by quite a lot of YouTubers back then. But let's talk about the game itself. When you're thrown into the first night, you'll already kind of notice the office very closely resembles FNAF 1's office. There are left and right sides you must look for and the lights and doors on each side. But one thing that is kind of weird about this game is that you get 200% power instead of 100. This doesn't really have an effect on gameplay, I just kind of thought I'd point that out. Speaking of the power, it doesn't start draining until the phone call ends. You can literally turn on all the lights, doors, and use the cameras and you will not drain a single percent of power until that call is over. But time also doesn't pass until the call is over, so this doesn't really matter. Anyways, you get a call from the phone guy from this game who explains to you what I basically just said when talking about the story and yada yada. The first night goes by like a breeze, like every single FNAF fan game, except for maybe one fan game. As you progress through the game, more and more characters get introduced through phone calls. Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and of course, they're in this game and also out to get you too. On the third night, the phone guy talks to you about a machine that was found shut down when it was supposed to be turned on, saying it was supposed to be protected by some sort of code. On the fourth night, the phone guy tells you that the machines keep turning off and on, 2 teeth were found in the basement, and people were caught trying to break in and steal Wario's secret recipe, like it's the fucking Krabby Patty secret formula or some shit. Very spooky. The fifth night's call goes a bit more into why Wario is possessed, and apparently, you got trapped inside for some reason, you can't get out until 6 AM. Not that this really changes the gameplay loop at all. And then the phone call gets hijacked and you hear this.
I'm not really sure what's going on right now. Alright, I'm walking out to the factory now, so let's see if we can...
Oh my god, bro, shut up. We shall avenge whoever did this to us. God, this is so fucking cringy to me. Is this cringy to anybody else? And like, it doesn't even make any fucking sense. It should be, we shall get revenge on whoever did this to us, or some shit like that. Anyways, you go through the night and then boom. That's just kind of it. You leave the factory for good and it becomes closed forever. Or is it? There is a 6th night to the game, but honestly it doesn't add anything to the story. It's just more gameplay, and when you finish it, you get this screen. That was so easy. Like, what the fuck?
Sleep-inducing.
You're not allowed to enter the factory when it's closed. Never do that again. Congratulations! I can see why this game was very popular when it came out because it was one of the first FNAF games to ever be made and it got really popular at the time. But honestly, it really just did not age well at all. The jump scares aren't even that good. All the models, or more like sprites, are basically just poorly edited versions of official renders from Nintendo, story, and gameplay itself, which is basically just a watered down version of FNAF 1 if I'm being honest. Except it is also way easier. Like, I completed the entire thing in one continuous run without dying a single time. The only way I could judge the jump scares was to look it up on YouTube. The backgrounds were also just like kinda odd. Nothing about the place looks even like a factory, let alone a fast food one. But what happened to Andy, the developer of this game? Well, he's still actually quite active to this day and has made not one, not two, but 7 more Five Nights at Wario's games, one of which is actually a complete remake of Five Nights at Wario's 1. I also forgot to mention, I was talking about the first version of Five Nights at Wario's, but he did actually update it multiple times throughout the years, the latest update being actually from 2 years ago. The most important thing he added was basically just a custom night, which was nice to see. He also has a YouTube channel where he posts a lot about his games, including the story of Five Nights at Wario's, announcement trailers, and even a fucking video where AI Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden ranks his own games on a fucking tier list. I never thought I'd say that.
I probably know more about Five Nights at Wario's lore than any man walking on this American soil.
That's bullshit. No one has played more than me.
Excuse me, but that information is quite incorrect.
When did Obama appear?
I invited him to the voice chat.
Fine, he can stay, but cut the horse shit with the sophisticated gentleman boo-hoo bitch-ass talk. Will you, Obama? We don't need that. We don't need that.
Quite profound, Donald, but I'll pretend that was merely a bug in my ear that I just heard.
Bug this ratio then, Barack.
I know I was a little harsh on this game, but I will give credit where it's due. This was Andy's first ever game he developed, at least that was made public, and it is pretty good for that standard. At least anything better than I could do. And it's nice to see that he's still active in making games to this day. So props to you, www Wario. Keep that grind up. Now this next game I'll be talking about, I actually don't have a lot to say about it because it's probably the most well-known fan game on this list, which is kind of ironic to say. And it isn't really your stereotypical FNAF fan game. It's actually more of an RPG style game. This is Five Nights at Fuckboys. And wow, does this game really show that it was made in 2015. Now, some of you may be rolling your eyes because you know that this exists, and some of you may be hit with a wave of nostalgia seeing this game. Fuckboys was created by developers Sable Katmai and Joshua Shaw. In this game, you play as Freddy from the first FNAF game, which is also set in the same location, which the map layout is honestly quite accurate to the game. Freddy decided he wanted to have an quote-unquote radical night of hardcore debauchery. But the surveillance cameras are in his way, so you have to destroy the cameras so you can move on. What a plot. Honestly, there isn't much to say about the story and gameplay of this game. It's just your usual Final Fantasy VII type RPG game, except it's FNAF, and has some silly features including free money, Balloon Boy, Foxy masturbating. This game originally got popular because Markiplier played it, but I could have sworn other popular YouTubers played this game, but I could only find Mark's results and nobody else's. FizzNom did stream this game, however that was only a month ago, so it doesn't really count. But if he played the game, that doesn't make the game forgot. Shut up. Nobody really talks about the game anymore, so shush. Now despite the game being pretty basic, it is actually way longer than I expected. It took me basically 5 hours to beat this game, despite it just being a FNAF shitpost RPG. It's honestly really fun and I had a blast playing through the entire thing, except for maybe the times I had to just walk around in circles and grind tokens to buy some stuff from Balloon Boy, or
Arrangement child.
Now if you're wondering what happened to Joss and Sable, they actually did go on to create 2 more Fuckboy games, Five Nights at Fuckboys 2 and 3, which essentially had the same plot except 2 is with Toy Freddy and 3 is with Springtrap, but he has to defeat the Phantoms. They did eventually remake all 3 of these games and compiled them into the Complete Edition, which is very nice. Apparently there was actually supposed to be more content updates from these games, but they were put on an indefinite hiatus according to a post by them from 9 months ago. It isn't known whether they'll be back to make more Fuckboys games, but time will only tell. Are you ready for this last game? I'm sorry, that was fucking terrible.
Man, shut your bitch ass.
Obviously, from my horrible impression of Patchy the Pirate, this next game is SpongeBob related. This is obviously the one and only Five Nights at the Chum Bucket by Psycho Rooney. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And you've probably noticed that this is actually a sequel to another game, called Five Nights at the Krusty Krab, but I'm not covering that game because it wasn't as popular as this one is. I will be talking about both stories from each game because it matters, but I will be going into more detail with the sequel since it's the one we're focusing on. Five Nights at the Krusty Krab takes place in a brand new Krusty Krab, which is completely run by animatronics based on his old employees, because apparently that cheap fuck didn't want to pay their salaries. Poor SpongeBob. You get hired as a night guard and strange things happen. Basic stuff. I'm guessing a bunch of shit hit the fan because in Five Nights at the Chum Bucket, the fucking Krusty Krab was burnt to the ground by the animatronic workers.
Hey, if we're underwater, how could there be a...
Anyways, the one survivor of the fire was taken captive by the person controlling the robots to leave no witnesses. Or at least it seems like someone is controlling them, as implies on the Game Jolt page. Then, wake up in the Chum Bucket and have to survive another 5 nights. Well, actually more like 6, but whatever. I like the story of this game because it does really seem like something Mr. Krabs would do. Like getting a bunch of animatronics to do the cooking instead of keeping SpongeBob and Squidward around. There literally was that one episode where Mr. Krabs sold SpongeBob to the fucking Flying Dutchman for 62 cents, and another episode where SpongeBob gets turned into a robot. But I'm getting sidetracked again. Back to the game. On the first night, someone tries to call you looking for you, saying how they saw the flames from the Krusty Krab. But then you are interrupted by another person who claims to be the second in command at the Chum Bucket, and he does not want you to get out of this alive. The animatronics of the Chum Bucket are said to specifically be programmed just to kill you. This call also explains that you are only allowed to use 2 pieces of equipment at the same time because that's all the generators can handle, including cameras, doors, and flashlight. I really like this concept as there isn't a limited amount of power, but there is actually a power meter that has a button next to it which allows you to use 3 pieces of equipment at once with 10 seconds of use and a 15-second cooldown. There's also a clock above you so you can see how much time is left. Yeah, that was a mouthful of knowledge. Also, this game was made with Unreal Engine, so I know Oya would be foaming at the mouth hearing how this game is in real-time 3D.
Cool stuff with the fact that the game is in real-time 3D, such as seeing a flashing arcade in the background of one camera, and then having another camera be in that same arcade.
This game mainly got its popularity after Markiplier made 3-part series on it, which the first episode has 12 million views to this day. Other YouTubers did make videos on this game, though, like Corey Kenshin, although it has far fewer views than Markiplier's. Anyways, back to the game. The layout of the Chum Bucket is pretty fucking crazy, with 21 camera buttons and 4 floors. The reason why I say camera buttons though is because some of the buttons are the same camera, just on a different floor. Speaking of floors, the map consists of 2 basements, the ground, and floor 1. Is this a Chum Bucket or a mansion? What the shit? The cast of characters in this game consists of SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs. At least for now. Night 1 flies by as usual, and as night 2 starts, you're introduced to another area you have to try to keep an eye on. 2 vents can be seen in the cameras above you, which Squidward will try to crawl through, and you can switch between which one closes and which one is open. Luckily, these don't take any power, except for, having the camera open. On night 3, the person who called on night 1 who is trying to save you calls again, saying he needs 1 to 2 more days to try to pinpoint your location. But once again, he gets cut off and the supervisor takes control. Or at least that's what I'm just gonna call him. He explained another mechanic that makes a flashlight more helpful, saying that if an animatronic is in the center and staring at the light, it will stay there. Sandy is also introduced on this night. On night 4, the supervisor talks about ghosts for some reason, but it's a good thing he mentions it because this is the night where the Phantoms are introduced, consisting of Phantom SpongeBob, Squidward, and Patrick. They show up on if you either look at cam 18, 5, or 9 too much, in which one of the Phantoms appears. Upon exiting the camera, one of them appears at the window and will kill you unless you pull up the monitor again and select a different camera. Then it will go away. On night 5, your friend finally finds out your location at the Chum Bucket, and he's saying he's on his way, until another interruption from the supervisor occurs. God, this guy is fucking annoying. He doesn't say anything meaningful that night. Also, I forgot to mention, I don't know when she is introduced, but Karen is in the game. You can't see her in her physical form on the cameras, but you can see static as she manifests in the room. You also have to close the door if you see static on either hall before it's too late. There is a 6th night to the game that you need to beat as well to get the actual ending. You get a call from the guy who is trying to save you saying he's trying to find his way in. This is also the night that Karen becomes the most active, which you aren't able to actually see because when she's on a camera it causes complete static. But you know when she's close and when to shut the door when the light nearby starts to flicker. Once you get through this night, a cutscene plays. But this cutscene is a little bit long, so I'll skip through the first bit.
Hello? I can see you through the glass. The doors, they're stuck fast. I can't get it open. Could you try from your side?
I mean, you're not really helping doing that. Oh, hi. Oh my god. That's it? That's really it? Yeah, honestly, the ending is kind of a mixed bag for me. On one hand, I like the twist of giving a player a false sense of hope, but on the other hand, this could have been a lot better than just a cheap jump scare as all the characters stand around you in a circle. However, there is a secret quote-unquote good ending if you defeat the custom night on 720 mode, which I am not going through all that effort. But here's the video of someone who did.
54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. Yes! Yes! That's complete. That's done. That's it. Yes. That's it. That's it. That's all 20. Done. Yes. Oh my god! There's...
Now, for the gameplay. I really liked the gameplay loop of this game, and I thought the difficulty curve was actually pretty well done. Besides Night 6, which was pretty hard compared to the other 5 nights, but I still enjoyed it a lot. The characters' mechanics really do make this game really enjoyable, and keeping track of all of them while you're trying to survive really creates some intense moments, especially when you're trying to decide which animatronic to handle first. The map layout is also really fucking good and actually makes a lot of sense. All the rooms are connected wonderfully, and you can predict which room the animatronics will go to next. Now this game obviously isn't all good. There are some minor flaws, like the fact that there is no confirmation button when you start a new game, which I ended up clicking fucking twice and I had to go through the entire game again just to get to Night 6. Jump scares also aren't that scary. Like, it did get me a first few times, but you can only get jump scared by the same stiff animations and the fact that all the animatronics use the same jump scare sound. But overall, this game is really fun and pretty well made, especially for the fact that it was one of the first 3D FNAF fan games. But where is Psycho-Rooney now? There have been almost no updates to either Five Nights at the Krusty Krab or Chum Bucket. So what is he up to now? Well, he actually did end up releasing Five Nights at the Krusty Krab Chapter 3, a sequel to Five Nights at the Chum Bucket, which came out 7 years after Five Nights at the Chum Bucket on May 9th, 2022. And not just that, but just 5 months ago, he released another teaser on his YouTube channel announcing a remaster of Five Nights at the Krusty Krab, which is supposed to come out this year. It's honestly really awesome to see Psycho-Rooney still developing and making games for the series, and I'm really honestly hyped for this game now. I might make a video on this channel about it when it releases. Out of all the games in this video, this game is definitely my favorite. I hope you've enjoyed this video going back to the past and looking at once popular but now semi-forgotten FNAF fan games. I usually would think about these games when it came to FNAF fan games, but I didn't know if anyone else remembered these games. These games arguably pioneered the way for future FNAF fan games and horror games in general of this genre. Anyways, once again, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe as it motivates me to make more of this content, and tell me what you liked about the video and what you didn't like, and what I should make a video on next. I really appreciate any feedback where I can get it, and I just want to improve as much as I can. I'll be on my way now. See ya. Have a good day.